Amazon is cutting around 14,000 corporate jobs as part of a push to become leaner and embrace AI, which they're calling the most transformative technology since the internet. My name is Jack Reeves and welcome to this week's episode of Tax Tidbits, where Amazon, which has around 350,000 corporate employees, says this move will let them focus on its biggest priorities and innovate faster for customers, even though it reported strong sales and profits this year. Basically, AI is taking over the boring, routine tasks, so some jobs will disappear while new ones pop up. Amazon has promised to help people either find a new role internally or get a nice severance cushion. This isn't Amazon's first rodeo with layoffs. After pandemic-era hiring sprees, and analysts warn that as AI gets smarter, big tech companies will probably keep trimming jobs wherever it can. For businesses, this means companies will need to rethink their workforce strategy, invest in upskilling staff, and consider how AI can complement rather than just replace human roles. The UK government is facing a bigger than expected £20 billion hole in the budget, largely due to an anticipated downgrade in productivity growth by the Office for Budget Responsibility. Basically, the economy may not be producing as much bang for its buck as hoped. Since government tax income and long-term spending plans rely heavily on productivity assumptions, even a small downgrade can leave a huge gap in the budget. In this case, a 0.3% cut could add around £20 to £21 billion to the shortfall. Chancellor Rachel Reeves has confirmed that both tax increases and spending cuts are on the table to plug the gap, but she's sticking to her fiscal rules on borrowing. Put simply, the economy isn't pulling its weight, and that leaves a big hole for the budget to fill, so all eyes will be on the OBR's Friday forecast to see exactly how deep the hole goes. There is some good news for the Chancellor though, as UK inflation has hit a bit of a plateau, giving her some breathing room ahead of next month's budget. September's inflation held steady at 3.8%, below the dreaded 4% mark, and economists think it could fall further next year as last year's regulated price hikes drop out of the calculations. While prices remain high, especially for your weekly shop, the risk of a self-reinforcing inflation loop is easing, which could allow the Bank of England to consider interest rate cuts in the coming year. A calmer inflation outlook means Reeves has a better shot at balancing the books without having to rely solely on tax hikes or spending cuts, though the challenge remains to balance any necessary tax and spending measures without reigniting inflation pressures. Speaking of the budget, a new tax idea could make life tricky for partnerships if it shows up in this autumn's budget. The plan would make partnerships to take 15% of profits before paying partners to act as a partnership NICs, to mirror what companies have to pay for employees. Currently, partners receive a share of profits from the business and are responsible for paying their own income tax, so the partnership itself doesn't pay any tax or national insurance. The aim is to level the playing field between partnerships and companies, but it could create headaches for lawyers, accountants, family farms, doctors, and other small businesses structured as partnerships or LLPs. While exemptions or allowances might soften the blow, many partnerships could restructure or incorporate to avoid the charge, and large firms would likely bristle at another complex tax following recent reforms. Tax, who initially published the idea, reckons it could pull in £1.9 billion a year and would affect 200,000 partners, giving Chancellor Rachel Reeves a neat way to tax wealthier professionals while leaving smaller businesses relatively untouched. A cyber attack on Jaguar Land Rover sent UK car production crashing to a 70-year low in September, with just over 51,000 vehicles rolling off the line, a 27% drop compared to the previous month, and the lowest September output since 1952. The attack shut down JLR's IT systems for 5 weeks, halting production at its Solihull, Wolverhampton and Howard plants and racking up an eye-watering £1.9 billion bill, making it the UK's priciest cyber incident ever. While other manufacturers reported stable output, JLR's shutdown also slashed exports by nearly a quarter. Experts expect a rebound once production is back on track, but warn the industry still faces pressure. This is one more to add to the long list of high-profile cyber incidents this year, and yet another reminder to review your cybersecurity, as you never know who they could be targeting next. Thank you so much for joining us in today's video. If you enjoyed this week's Tax Tidbits, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest posts.